go. What's up? We're here. Hey,
Hello.
Katie. We got
Hey,
Katie Knipper
Katie.
here, everybody.
Ah.
Great to see, dude. Super good to see you. Where are you coming
Yeah.
from today? Is this your bedroom?
This is my bedroom in the house that I moved into at the beginning of this month. So I've been here exactly a month now. So
No way.
yeah, so
What
you're
part of
being
town are
gallery
you
wall
in?
in progress. I'm literally across the street from Belmont, like
No
directly
way.
across the street. So
Wow, that's cool.
yeah.
Wow, I feel like that's like prime real estate, especially if you're trying to go to Belmont. How'd you pull that off? That's sick.
Um, it just they needed a room filled, and I needed a place to live, so
Who are
it
you
worked out
living with?
perfectly.
Do I know them?
Um, I think you know Ruth Wiggins. She is super, super sweet. She runs Johnny and Rue, which is like a vintage
Yes.
clothing reselling, all super cute. And then our other roommate moved in 2 weeks ago, I think. Her name's Ellie, and she is a Nashville transplant from Syracuse. So
What?
yeah,
Cool. Well, I can't wait
yeah,
to meet Ellie. That's sick. And that's cool.
yeah.
That sounds fun.
It is fun.
We right off the bat need to talk about your would you call it a book? A zine?
Yeah, it's more of a zine. It's like 24 pages, so I feel like that's a stretch to call it a book. um, but
Yes.
yeah,
Quarantimes.
yes.
I've seen it on multiple friends. I was just talking to somebody and I mentioned it and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's on my friend's um coffee table."
Yeah,
It
that's been the coolest thing is like seeing it literally like in the background. Like people like will post pictures in their living room and it'll be like in the background and I'm just like, oh cool.
Yeah, I think it's such a just like brilliant idea. That name is
Uh-huh.
amazing. It's exactly what we like for real. It's like what we need right now. It's like you're making art relating to this time. What can you tell us for those who haven't seen it? Like, can you tell us about the book a little bit?
Yeah, basically I kind of just was in a creative rut as we all were, I feel like at the beginning of quarantine whenever it was like really strict stay at home because I'm not used to doing that, not used to having like a lot of free time, and so I just like didn't know what to do with myself, and I was in like a really just like hard place where it was like I want to be like making something but I have no idea like what to make or do. And then
Right.
I was driving home and like just the idea like hit me. I was like, oh, like this feeling of like not knowing what to do, and like all of my friends that are making these cool things happen in this time period, like that's the idea. And so like I basically
Whoa.
like almost ran a red light because it was just like my mind was just like, oh my god, like this is perfect. Because like I wanted to try to make something like physical just because most of my writing has been online up until this point, which is like still super cool, but you know it's different when you can like hold it in your hands and just be like, this is this thing that I made. um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically I wanted it to just be kind of like a time capsule of like I guess what is now considered like early quarantine, because I
Yeah,
guess we're
right.
still kind of in it.
Totally.
Should be, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
guess we still should be, and people are still trying to be cautious, but it definitely
yeah.
like people are now having new conversations. Like
Mhm.
that was definitely, and also just like processing it differently. That was definitely like a specific time,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
Because there was like that, what everyone thought was going to be like 2 weeks of just like, okay, well, I'll stay home for 2 weeks. And that turned into like 2 full months of
Right.
like no restaurants even like being open or anything like that. And just like
Yeah.
2 months of like at home. And so many people, myself included, were just like, okay, well, what do we do now? Um,
Right.
so that's what kind of inspired it because I was like seeing my friends and like people I knew who like whose art I looked up to that were just like still making cool things, and I was like, that just kind of inspired me, and I was like, oh, let me make something about them making something. So
Yeah, right.
that's where we're at.
Wow, okay, that's really cool. So what is the zine comprised of? Is it like I don't have my copy yet. I haven't only like peeked at the
Yeah,
copy yet of the Future Crib
I
House.
have I have one here to
Cool.
reference. But it's all online. for free as
Wow.
well. If you
You
want
can
to look
view it
at it online.
online?
Yes, you can do like a preview of the whole thing because like I would like to make money off of it, but also I think it's more important to like have more people like read it just because I think it's cool and I want to like share it with everybody.
That's
Um,
great. We'll
yeah.
post I'll post a link in the, you know,
Oh, yay.
whatever you call it,
Yeah.
on the YouTube page, and so people can click that and go there from here and
Yeah.
check it out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't
Everyone
know
can
that I
read it.
can check it out. That's sick.
Yeah. But yeah, it just has like a couple different let me read you the table of contents.
Please do. For real, please do. That'd be awesome.
I have like a couple of interviews with just people. I wanted to make it more than just like music because like I feel like that's what I focus a lot of my energy on when it comes to like interviewing people or writing articles or things like that. And so I talked to Luke Rogers, who is just super talented
Oh,
photographer,
yeah, so cool.
and graphic designer, which he's been like doing a lot more of lately. And just every time I see him do something, I'm like blown away. And Hannah Hall too, who is also just incredible. They're both so amazing and so nice. And then I
Totally.
talked to Jonathan Bailey of Lava Goals, who was like, when I came to Belmont, he was like one of the first, like, I think it was a two boot show, probably. But I just like ended up there and I was like, wait, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And so like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
known him for that long, but we were never like close friends or anything. It was just like the in passing kind of friendships. And so I like talked to him kind of in depth about like what he's doing now. And then I just have like little random things that I was doing to keep myself busy during quarantine. Like I have a cookie recipe in there that I was baking all the time. I have like tips and tricks on growing plants and baking sourdough and all of those things that were very specific to that period of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just meant to be like a little snapshot of like that weird period of our lives. And
Yeah.
I hope it captures that.
For sure. Do you have you thought about making like a second volume or a second zine, or has the inspiration gone?
I don't know. I think like I really enjoyed the process of creating it because I had the whole thing was kind of more of like a learning experience because I had never used InDesign before. But like one of the things that I did with my graduation money, I was like, I'm gonna finally get an Adobe subscription because I kind of need it. And so I was
Oh,
like, okay,
totally.
now that I have it, I want to learn how to use all of the software. And so I was like, cool, like let's do InDesign, like that'll work. And so I mostly did it just to like teach myself how to use it. And I'm not an expert, but I made a zine, so there we are.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that reminds me of a conversation I've had with a few different people, including Bryce, about creating. And I never really have said this exact thing, but I feel like for me personally, the best way for me to learn something, like learn an instrument or whatever, learn a software, is to give myself a creative project.
Yeah.
I have to like continue to learn these technical skills to use them immediately for that project. Like I
Mhm.
can't just like, I've never been the person who just watch like 5 hours of tutorials online. I'm just like, I'm ready to jump in and I'll learn it along the way. And I really do.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of times I feel like I do learn. Like I don't, it's not, I think it is effective, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I feel like that little like trial and error period is what actually teaches you the thing where it's like you are so stuck on something that you don't even know what terms to Google. Like that's where you're just like, oh God, like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then like you eventually just click enough stuff and watch enough tutorials that are unrelated to what you're doing that you're like, oh, I think I know what that's called now. And you can search it and just like, oh, now I know how to do it. And I feel like
Yeah.
that kind of process of just frustration stays with you longer. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. You know, I had to learn InDesign in high school. I was on the Pony Express for all 4 years of high school. My high
What
school's
is that?
newspaper. That was just the name of the newspaper, and I was
Nice.
a writer, and also barely knew how to use InDesign. Oftentimes
Yeah.
would convince the seniors to do it, and then I became the senior, and I was the slacker senior, and I
Nice.
would just get the
It's
younger
hard.
kids to do it.
Like InDesign is really confusing. There are a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
things that you have to just like just keep trying and figuring out. But
It's definitely not sexy. It's like it's
no,
not like I don't know, sometimes when I'm making music on Logic, even the process like feels cool. But like InDesign specifically is like I feel clunky, and when I'm
yeah,
on there I'm like, oh, I wish I knew how to use this better.
yes,
So,
exactly.
did you learn how to use some of that with Belmont Vision? Did y'all use InDesign?
Um, I think a couple people on staff might have now and then, but just because we like weren't a print publication, that wasn't something that we like
Hmm.
had to do. My first exposure to it was actually I interned at the Nashville Edit um, in my final semester, so that got cut short,
What is that?
unfortunately. It's like it was founded by um, one of the founders of Nashville Lifestyles. So it's pretty similar, but it's just kind of like a lifestyle publication, but it's this really like thick, glossy, like quality print publication that's like super nice. And
Cool.
so I got to work with them for a little while, which was super cool. And I was working really closely with their art director, and she was like their photographer and their InDesign person and their like web, just everything that everyone else was like, I don't know how to do this, just kind of like went to her and she would just figure it out, which was awesome. But
Yeah.
I was working on a piece for that, and like I've only written for like an online format where I could just like be like, oh, like it's just long form text, and then you can just insert this video right here and all of that stuff. But to write for like a print magazine, it takes different like skills and a different way to think of it, because you have to break it into little bite-sized sections that like look good and fit in a certain place. And so like just kind of watching her do that and working with her on that, I was like, this is not sexy, but I want to learn it because it seems really interesting.
Yeah. How long were you there? You said quarantine kind of put
Yeah,
that
so it was
together.
going to be my second semester of my senior year, I guess. And so I was there from January, the beginning of the semester, until I think like the March 15th, kind of when everything like blew up a little
Yeah.
bit. And they were just like, yeah, it doesn't really seem like the time for a lifestyle magazine to be like producing content. We're not going to tell people what like $300 shoes to buy right now. Like, kind of seems insensitive. So they took a
Wow.
little hiatus, and they're back now, and they're
Cool.
great. But yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm sorry that that got cut short. And so you graduated in the spring?
yeah. So I graduated in May. I have my diploma sitting up on a shelf up
You just
there,
didn't you didn't
which is
walk.
cool. Yeah, but at this point, it's kind of no biggie because I'm just really happy that I don't have to deal with online classes.
Yeah,
I
right.
would
That
not be good at that.
I feel for all of the students out there right now. It really is a blessing to not be a
Yeah,
student right now. For real, that is heavy.
yeah.
Were you a part of the vision for all 4 years, or how long were you involved there?
Pretty much. Well, I was only at Belmont for 3 years. So I
Really?
just like, yeah. So I
You
graduated a
graduate
year
early?
early. Hmm.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I know, it's exciting, but
Y'all are
like,
crazy.
but that was the thing, because originally, whenever I was like, I have worked so hard all through high school and all through my 3 years of college for this like crowning moment of like walking across the stage, and I like don't get to have it. And so originally I was just like, so I was like, did I do all this for nothing? Which like obviously isn't true, because I still have diploma. I still have all the
Yeah.
experience that I got. But for a while I was like, God, like this just feels like nothing. And then now I'm looking back on it and I'm like, I did get out at a really good time.
Yeah, right.
So I guess everything happens for a reason. So
Totally.
yeah.
What's your major? Was your major?
I did communication studies, and then journalism was my minor.
Cool. Okay, cool.
So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. So was that something, is that what you knew you wanted to get into, like coming to Belmont?
I knew communication studies because I came to the conclusion that that was one step up from undecided. Because basically you can take the skills that you learned there and work in any industry. You're kind of doing the same job, but you can work in like any environment that you want. You can do social media, you can do their like communication, internal and external. Just like every company needs help with that, no matter what their sector is.
Right.
And then I took a couple journalism electives and I really liked it. So to answer your earlier question, I started with the vision the second semester of my freshman year as a New Year's resolution, because I was like, I'm gonna write one story. And I was like, okay, cool, I like it.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So your interest in journalism kind of came to you at near the beginning, but in your collegiate
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
time period, what when in high school or even before that, did you have an interest in writing or like creating in that way?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I knew as far as like writing, words came pretty easily for me. So I was like, okay, this is something I'm good at that I like doing, but I didn't really have any experience doing that. And so the first class I actually took at Belmont, like the first day of classes, the first one on my schedule was media writing. And it was hard. Like it was really hard, but I
Yeah.
really liked the challenge of it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
does sound challenging. What was your position with the vision? Were you just writing mainly?
I started just doing a little bit of writing, and then they're like, "Hey, we really like you being in the office. Do you want to be a copy editor?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah." And then they were like, "You know, you write a lot of arts and entertainment stories, and our arts and entertainment editor is leaving for a semester abroad, and so they're like, do you want to do that?" And I was like, "Yes, that's exactly what I would like to do." So yeah, so I did arts and entertainment, and it was really fun.
And then they were like, "You should go get the scoop on Space Prom."
Yes, literally, like I think the way that came about, I'm pretty sure all of us in the office had already like bought tickets, and we were like, I wonder how we can like make it into a story so we can like do something fun with it.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and then we ended up in Johnny's parents' basement, and then we ended up at Space Prom, and now here we are now.
I feel like you barely ended up in Johnny's basement. You were like, "Freeze, can I come today? Can I come to this?" And I was like, "Come to this party." And you were like, "I'm not going to come to a party. When is a good time to interview you?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Everybody's here."
It was a good time looking back on it now. I was very business first at the time, just because I was like, I want it to be so good, because I
I
think that was the
forgot
first
about
video
the
I like
interview.
produced.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do remember y'all were pretty like I was afraid that I had gone beyond my moral guidelines. I thought I had maybe been too mean to y'all. I was like definitely like teasing y'all. I was trying to make y'all come out of your shell, and I was like being goofy. And I was like, man, I hope I didn't like make hurt their feelings or like wasn't too mean to them.
No, you could never. I can't imagine you like hurting someone's feelings. It was honestly, it's just hard. Like organizing it was so much harder than actually doing it. Like once we were there, it was just like, oh, we're just like hanging out. Because I hadn't met you before, so I wasn't sure. Like I didn't know about your personality at all, and I was just like, ugh, I keep trying to set up an interview with this guy, and he just like invites me to a party every time, which is like cool. But that's actually how I met Bryce, was because Joe was like, "Yeah, Freeze is like that. I'm gonna give you Bryce's number. He's the most organized person I know." So here we are.
Dang, Joe. I didn't know that. That's so fun. So funny. Okay, so yeah, because I do remember Bryce being like, "Hey,
Liaison.
Katie's trying to get in touch with you." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, I already have her number. I don't know what's going on." That's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So wait, was that time in the basement the first time you met Bryce?
Hmm.
Wow. For
Yeah.
those listening who don't know, which means you must not know Katie very well, but maybe you're just a part of the Fun Zone cult,
Yeah.
and you're curious. Katie is dating Bryce Dubray of the band Future Crib, also of my touring band, and band in general helps with recording and everything, and as well as Kelsey Abbott and countless other projects. I talked to him about a week ago on this very show, and it was a
Yeah.
really cool interview getting to
It
talk
was.
to Bryce. But that's crazy that y'all met through that experience. Can I ask you just like a few questions on that? I'm just kind of curious how y'all met through that, because I know you
Sure.
came to Johnny's basement where we were recording and we did that interview. But beyond that, how did y'all meet or like get to know each other through that? Through
I
Space
mean,
Prom.
yeah, Space Prom just birthed a romance, I guess. um, yeah, no, we literally that interview happened, and then we didn't see each other or talk to each other for like months. I think until like that summer. And then I was going to more of your shows because I was like, this dude is so fun. Like, I love his live performances. I want to go to these.
Ooh.
And then it just happened that every time we would be like hanging out, Bryce was always just kind of like the easiest person to talk to.
Yes.
And he's like that with everyone, where he's just like so warm and friendly and welcoming. And I was just like, that's really cool. So it didn't start as like a romantic thing at all. It was just like, this guy's really nice to talk to. And whenever I'm like at a party or something and I don't know where to stand or like who to talk to, I can just like come back to this person and it feels comfortable every time.
Truly.
Which I think he's good at doing that for everyone, which is awesome. But yeah, and then
that's so
then
cool.
we got coffee. And then,
where did y'all go? What coffee shop?
Oh, Portland Brew, obviously.
Oh,
the only answer.
Classic. Yes, it's the best place to meet someone, really.
Absolutely.
That's so cute. That's so cool. Yeah, Bryce, I will say, like somebody who works as hard as that dude, it's amazing that he also has the capacity, like anytime there's like an after party or there's like anything, Bryce is like, yeah, I'll be there. And then he comes and he like actually is like the most engaged with everybody and like it's just like so sweet to everybody. It really is like a pretty rare quality, especially in somebody who's like works so hard.
Yeah. I think he's really good at like valuing, like he knows when he has to say no to that kind of stuff. I think he just values the people there so much that he knows that like, okay, I'll go to this thing and I'll have a really good time and I'll get to like reconnect with my friends and like be super present in that moment, and then I'll stay up until like 2 to mix something else.
Yeah, right. Wow, yeah, him and Johnny both are able to like push themselves like that. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Especially, and they're both like still in school balancing that. What is post grad life looking like for you? Are you working anywhere? Like, what are you up to these days?
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's probably the weirdest time to be post grad. Right now I'm working part-time at a boutique in the Green Hills Mall.
No way. Which one?
It's called Evereve. It's like by the Container Store Cheesecake Factory entrance.
Yeah.
Right next to Kate Spade. But yeah, so I'm just a stylist there, but it's like really fun. Like, I think this is the most fun that I've had with like a part-time job.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Wait, what do you do? What exactly do you do there?
So, I mean, we do like cash register and like normal like retail stuff, but we also, people come in and like the whole goal of this company, like they started in Minnesota, I think. But the whole goal was like the founder like went shopping for the first time after having a kid, and like her body was way different than what it was before, so she didn't know how her jeans fit her anymore. And she had her kid in the stroller just like crying the whole time, just in this dressing room, just this disaster experience of just like nothing is fitting, I feel horrible, my kid is crying, I'm in a hurry. And she was like, she left that experience and was like, I never want to do that again. And so the stores now are kind of like an answer to that, where all of the stylists, me, are like trained on body type and size and fit and all that kind of stuff. And so we know how to like dress certain body types in a way that will make them feel good and look flattering, and just pull clothes that we think people will like based on their lifestyle. So it's really fun to just have like a mom come in and just be like, I don't know what to wear. And we'll just be like, try this. And she'll be like, I love it.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's really fun.
That is really fun. What about the problem with kids? Do you guys like, is there like a kids zone or something?
There's like a little fort like in the store.
No way.
And like, just because of everything going on right now, not a lot of people are like going shopping with their kids right now. Right. But today, oh my God, today there was this little, he was like this 2-year-old. He had this beautiful curly blonde hair. He looked like one of the Pope children, but blonde. Beautiful children.
Say no more. We understand. The beautiful kids.
So cute. He comes riding in on this little wooden bicycle, like comes from the mall, just like into the store, and just like stops in front of like the jewelry display and just drops the bike and runs away. And I was just like, hey, like, you're really cute. What are you doing here? Where are your parents? And they like followed in right after him, and they were like, what are you doing? But he was so cute. So
Oh,
hopefully when COVID is not as much of a thing, a lot more moms will bring their kids in, and we can like bring them toys and goldfish.
yeah, right. That's cute. When is COVID
Yeah.
gonna be over, Katie? What
Um,
is your what are your people saying at your job?
um, they are all simultaneously saying tomorrow and never.
Yeah, right.
So that's the only answer that I can come up with.
I think
Uh,
that's pretty accurate. I think
yep.
my Lee, the guy who helps me with booking, told
Mhm.
me he said that we would think about it again in March. Like that was just, obviously it's just a nothing answer, but like
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, okay, well, it's interesting to
Yeah.
hear.
There
It's
are
always
no real
interesting to hear what
answers right
people
now. No
think
one
about it.
knows.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Are
We're
you
all just kind of
so
going
with
with the flow.
in terms of like creative projects, now that you've done Quarantimes, are you working on anything else new, or do you have like any type of like even like a daily habit or like something you're just trying to like do more when it comes to writing and creating?
Um, Not particularly. Most of my effort is going into like cover letters for full-time jobs because I
Oh,
very much need a
whoa.
full-time job
No
still.
joke. Yeah. Oh, for
um,
real. So you're trying to find a different job.
yeah, because as much as I like this one, I know that they would be able to like put me on weekends if I found a cool job.
Yeah.
And oh, I have an exciting secret to share that
What?
I'm gonna regret saying if I don't get the
A
opportunity.
Fun
But
Zone exclusive secret premiere.
I'm gonna be hearing back from iHeartRadio this week potentially.
No way. Are you serious?
um, yeah, it's just like a copywriter position, but that's what I put some effort into lately, and all of my hopes and dreams into lately.
Whoa. Okay, so what does that mean? What is a copywriter? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So
What is that?
um, basically, just doing like social media copy, like the text that goes along with like a social media post for different iHeartRadio stations, and then
No way.
writing like 30 and 60-second ads for different things. So yeah, it sounds super fun. Just because like that's kind of exactly what I'm looking for at this point in time. It's just kind of doing little blips of writing and doing it for a company like that and being surrounded in that atmosphere. But I also don't want to get my hopes too high because I don't want them to come crashing down.
Yeah. Word. So you've applied for it and you think you might land it, or do you have they talked to you at all about
I
it?
had a first interview and then I had a copy test where they basically were just like, yeah, write us like a 30-second ad for like this fake client. And I was like,
Oh,
cool, got it.
that sounds scary.
Yeah.
Was that easy
It's,
for you?
yes, it was nerve wracking because I was like, a 30-second ad is like 5 sentences. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do I put everything that I want into like 5 second, like a 30-second ad? But that's kind of that's the whole point. It's just like, well, this is what you got, make it good. So
Wow.
we'll see.
That's a really interesting job. I didn't realize that people did that. So, like that
Yeah.
you would like I mean obviously that exists and somebody has to do it and or
Mhm.
gets to do it. And I just I guess I didn't know that phrase copywriter. And so you'd be
Yeah.
working specifically with social media.
Social media and like on air ads and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
crazy being on LinkedIn constantly, like I am, just finding out about all of the jobs that exist. There's one that I did not apply for. Actually, two. One was doing communications for one of the world's leading animatronics companies that just
Oh,
happens to be in Nashville. So if anyone's looking for a fun job writing for an animatronics company, there you go. It's
no
on LinkedIn.
way. Wait, what is this company called?
I don't remember. I can see it's the funniest part was that in the job description they were like, we were like the leading puppet company, and then the world changed and we became the leading animatronics company.
Oh my
Maybe not the
goodness.
leading, but one of the world leading.
Dude, we got to look this
Um,
up. What are you talking
I
about? This
have
sounds so cool. And this is in Nashville?
yes. I
Ah!
think this is not like, don't quote me on this because I don't actually know, but do you know how at the Graduate, at that new hotel downtown where everyone posts photos with like all the pink stuff and the giant Dolly Parton bust?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the upstairs restaurant. The downstairs is called like the something watering hole, where you can do karaoke with an animatronic backing band, where there's like a beaver that plays a banjo as your backing band while you play karaoke. So I think my hypothesis is that this company did their animals, maybe.
Whoa.
But I don't
I
know.
did not even know that existed. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could play music with an animatronic band in Nashville.
Yeah. It's like brand new. It just reopened.
What?
So yeah, it's at the Graduate.
I'm going tomorrow. Like,
All right, let's go.
so I actually love animatronics. It's actually like I've kind of I'm not I'm passionate about it. I think it's a really cool art form. As a side
Yeah.
note, I think it's really cool and it's expensive, so it's hard to
Yeah.
get into, and it's hard to and it's just confusing, and in a lot of ways it winds up only being used in a corporate ways with like Chuck E. Cheese or
Yeah.
like Disney World or something.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a guy named Aaron Fletcher, and he's actually the one who started the animatronics at Showbiz Pizza that eventually were all bought and turned into Chuck E. Cheese. And
Oh.
I've watched like documentaries on this guy. He is the most fascinating dude, and I just thought his life. I mean, he's still alive and doing well, but I just thought his career seemed so cool. He would like basically was like writing scripts and like programming these robots and like writing songs for them to perform. And I was just like, this sounds like one of the most creative and exciting endeavors.
I mean, yeah, when you put it that way, definitely. But this is a side to you that I did not know existed. Animatronic freeze.
Yeah, I think it'd be so cool one day if I was like playing arenas to have animatronics on stage.
Yeah. My immediate thought is
Yeah.
just like the Bucky's beaver. Just like make an animatronic form of him and just put him in every Bucky.
Yeah, oh man,
Perfect.
you know I love
Or just one for yourself.
You know I love Bucky. Bryce put Bucky in my car and I didn't know it, and he buckled him in. So I was just driving home and I looked over and there was just a Bucky like puppet sitting strapped in, just like sitting there next to me. It was
Yeah.
It was alarming and comforting at the same time.
I have been woken up to Bucky before. Just like
Dude,
it
Bryce
happened.
and Bucky communicate in like some sort of they use a different language. It's very special watching
He has a
Bryce.
voice for him.
Yeah, Bryce is like he's like Mr. Rogers if you've watched like the movie or documentary. I feel like Bryce could like handle conflict through this like mediator. That's so funny. Anyway, that's totally
Way off topic.
it's off topic, but it also is funny because what city did you grow up in? Is
I'm
Orlando?
from I say a lot of different places. I'm from Lake Placid, Florida, which is like if you threw a dart at like the nothingness that is Central Florida, we are like the direct middle of it. So literally like 2 hours to Orlando, 2.5 hours to Tampa, 2 hours to Fort Lauderdale, 3 hours to Miami, which was cool because I got to go to all those places growing up. But also, if I wanted like Chick-fil-A or something when I was younger, I would have to drive an hour and a half.
Oh man, wow.
So
Is it a pretty small population? Or is it like suburbia or is it like the rural?
it is rural. It is like farm. We're the caladium capital of the world.
What?
Caladiums, they're a type of like flower. They're not even flowering, but they're like a really pretty like ground cover plant. Their leaves, like they just grow in a stalk and their leaf is shaped like a heart, and like it just has like reds and greens and pinks on it, and that's our claim to fame. We have that and oranges and cows.
Wow.
And a clown college.
Oh, a clown college?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Why is Florida like the way
It's
it is?
quite an eclectic place.
Did you like growing up there?
At the time, no, and now, not really. But I can appreciate it a little bit more now because it is like, I will say with a small town like that is a really great place to raise kids just because there's like no danger per se. Like everyone, like it's such a small community that everyone's like looking out for each other. So like the flip side of that while you're growing up is you can't do anything without the entire town knowing.
Yeah, right.
But in your parents' minds, that's a wonderful thing. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. That is kind of a catch 22 there.
Yeah.
How did you discover Belmont, or what interested you in moving to Nashville?
I got promo stuff from Vanderbilt first.
Really?
Yep. And my mom and I, so my mom's whole side of her family are from like the Northeast, like Boston suburbs, kind of, a lot of New Hampshire, some in Maryland. And we have a cousin of mine like lives in Virginia. And so almost every summer, or like every other summer, my mom and I would just drive from Central Florida to Massachusetts and like stop a bunch of places along the way. So yeah, so that was like our little mom-daughter tradition. That was like our vacation every summer. It was like visiting family along the way.
That's an incredible drive. That is like
it's quite the drive. It's a lot of driving.
Oh my goodness! Even getting out of Florida is a drive.
Oh yeah, from where we are, it's like a good 5 hours to hit Georgia.
So what was the name of your town?
Lake Placid, Florida.
Okay, let's see. And you were driving to Boston. Do you know how long that was?
We split it up into like a couple days, and we would go like as far as we needed to get to like the next relative's house. But cool. I think normally we would set aside like 2 to 3 weeks to do the drive. How many miles is it if you're looking it up?
Let's see. Okay, from Lake Placid to, let's just type in Boston.
Yeah, we actually went north of Boston.
Oh my goodness. Every summer, that's really special. Wow,
like every other summer. Yeah.
It's 1,384 miles.
And we did
double that.
We did all of those drives up and back in the Kia Soul that I drive now.
No way.
Yeah. That's why I love my car so much. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She keeps kicking. She's a tank. I love her.
Do you drive back to Florida very much?
Not anymore. I think the last time I drove in my car was spring break my freshman year, and then I think I got into an accident on the way back. Or no, my tire blew up in Atlanta, and it was really scary because I was on like an exit ramp, like just in the middle of Atlanta. So that was super scary. And then I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to drive anymore. I want to keep my car in really good shape for the next like probably 5 years because I love it and I want to drive it forever.
Yeah, right.
So the last 2 times I have been down, we drove Bryce's car and took turns driving, which is nice to just split it up.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, cool. I got to Belmont because the summer before my senior year of high school, my mom and I made it into like more of a college road trip than a family road trip. And so we stopped in Nashville and I was like, yeah, I'm going to live here. Like we saw other places after and I was like, nope, I'm going to live in Nashville. It's really cool. The people are all super nice. The music is great. Cause that was something I cared about a lot, like in high school, but just didn't have the access to.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then Vanderbilt rejected me. And then I was like, I'll apply to Belmont then. And I got in. But then when I did tour Belmont, like it just felt like a better fit just because it was a little smaller, a little more manageable. And like the thing that stood out was that people held doors for each other at Belmont, which I had never seen at any other college tour. It's just like, not like the tour leader, just like a random student would just like hold doors for everyone walking in, which is super cool.
So you just felt like that tiny thing, like people holding doors, you
Yeah.
sense like this greater feeling of just like generosity or like community
Yeah.
through that?
Yeah, I think so. Just like, I don't know, Vanderbilt is huge and
It really is.
really, really rigorous. And I think I came to realize that's not exactly what I wanted from like my college experience. Like, obviously, I
Yeah.
want challenging academics, but I don't want to be a slave to my degree. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like I was that at all. So it was
Yeah.
cool. And then legitimately every person I met at Belmont is just such a special, sweet person. So
Yeah. Do you have good like you feel like it was a really good place and a formative place for to begin your like time in Nashville and just like a good chapter of your life?
yeah, definitely. It was kind of like the landing pad. And as I as Nashville became home a little more, like I started branching out beyond Belmont, obviously, but that was just such a nice place to start with like a core group of people. But yeah.
Yeah, right. That's really cool. Do you perceive yourself like staying here for a little while longer, or do you have other places you're interested in moving to?
Um, right now here's the place. So, but I don't know. I would like to see other places in the future and potentially like I would love I would love to work in a job where I would be like on location for a project for like 6 months to a year and then have like a home base here,
Yeah.
or like a job here where I would travel a lot because that's just something that I really like doing that I obviously haven't been able to do lately. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but it's really cool to just like I feel like Nashville like 100% feels like home at this point, which is really cool because I've only actually been here for like 3 years, but I feel like I've like kind of cemented my place here, which is fun.
Yeah, right. It's a really good place to be. It's definitely I
Yeah,
definitely like see myself staying here for it kind of a similar way. Like I like to get my kicks traveling, but I don't really feel a
yeah,
desire to like live anywhere else. And when I think about, there are other cities that I've like thought about, but I never just like I don't know. I've never felt drawn to anywhere else as like in terms of like living there.
yeah.
You know?
Austin is super interesting to me, but I've never actually been. That's just from what everyone tells me about it.
Oh yeah, Bryce and I have had some good memories there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's that would be really cool. Have you ever thought about going out on like a tour with a band? Like with Future Crib or something for a few days?
I think that would be so fun, but I would also need to feel like I was there for a reason. Like I would need a job
Yeah.
in that like context. Like even if
You
I
wouldn't
was
want to
doing
just
like
be along for the ride. You'd be like, okay, let me
yeah,
like get involved here and do something.
exactly. Because then I'm just like, no, I'm just like taking up a seat. I'm just making the van heavier and like increasing gas costs. Like let me do something. But yeah, once I can figure out, even if it's like if I get better at like photography, maybe because that's something like I like shooting shows and I've done that a little bit in the past. But
Cool.
I'm by no means an expert. I also don't have my own camera. I would always borrow the Visions. So that's step one.
Yeah, right. I've gotten into a little bit of that too. Like I've taken pictures on a couple tours, like of other bands when, like, that when we're on tour, and um, particularly I went on a tour with Future Crib, and I got to take pictures of Future Crib every night, and
Nice.
it's really fun. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I find photography to be like pretty fun. I think the worst part to me was like editing and
Mm.
editing every day. Like I liked
Being
shooting, and then I'd
consistent
be like,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, I'd be like, dang, I took like 100 pictures, and I
Mm-hmm.
like 10 of them, and even that's gonna take me like
It's gonna take you
most of my
forever
free
to go through
time.
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It is grueling, and my friends who are photographers, I have so much respect for their like coffee shop grind. They're always like, you walk
Yeah.
into a coffee shop, and your photographer friends are
They're
hunched
sitting there for
over.
like 8 hours, and it's like, how do you like? I can't even imagine sitting there for that long, looking at such small details, and still like being able to see when I stand up.
Yeah, right.
But it's
Totally.
crazy.
I remember I ran into Daniel Cheney like 3 years ago at a coffee shop, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to come up with this idea where I could like create this like custom preset that could like make all editing easier for people." Uh,
Mm.
he kind of launched that and marketed it as like a Instagram or like a Lightroom like preset. I don't know. Have you seen that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's a
It's
girl
so
at
cool.
Belmont who I did not know personally, but she made and sold presets and was making like 10K a month.
I think I know who you're talking about. I've met a
Yeah.
girl at Belmont who does that. Yeah, pretty dope. I didn't realize
Yeah.
there was a huge market, but I guess every like, I think her specifically, it was like sorority girls was like who she
Yeah.
was marketing to, and it's
Yeah.
like there are tons of other types of people and other people that want these, but like that was just a like she was specifically just like get your spring break filter. I was
Yes,
like,
exactly. Just
what?
like you can, because every sorority, I say every as a generalization. There's some
Sure.
lovely, like not superficial at all women in sororities that I respect. But just with the generalization, they need to look tan and they have a ton of disposable income and they
Right.
need to keep their Instagram up to date. So boom, you have identified the perfect market for a preset.
Yeah, and it's really not if you're gonna spend 15 even more on like a preset, it's like even let's say $50. It's like in terms of you being a person who wants to look a certain aesthetic and you're spending money on clothes and you're spending money on this and that, it's really not that much money to blow. I mean, for
Yeah,
like your
that's just a
Instagram is
little
everything.
extra. Yeah, exactly. Because like if
Or
your Instagram's not cool, you aren't either. So
yeah, and you can also use these
obviously,
pictures for like your Tinder or whatever, so it can
yeah,
change your whole game, you know?
exactly, exactly. It's an investment in yourself, truly.
Yeah, right. I always just edit on like Visco and stuff. Even like with
Yeah,
my photography on when I be on tour, I would just edit on my phone. From what I could gather, it seemed that the what the learning curve and like what it would have taken to like become a real like photographer who like truly understood my camera and truly understood some sort of like Adobe like Photoshop
mm,
or something like I think I can see the value in it, but it seems like I was getting a high enough percentage of that through just literally using Visco and just like
yeah,
taking pictures in a way I didn't really understand on my camera. To where like, and I don't say this to gloat, but like I was getting like responses from like photography magazines and stuff being like, oh, these pictures are sick or these film pictures. And I was like,
oh,
no,
yes,
they're
I
just
have a
like,
photography
they're just,
magazine. It's just
yeah.
really wanted my Visco photos. They said, "Oh, a genius."
No, I just felt like I was like, well, this must say something in the same way that like that you can win a Grammy now, apparently making an album in your bedroom. Like
Yeah,
it's like it's just and I don't think that
it's
I won a
cool.
Grammy with my photography. I think my photography is not I don't but I just mean it's just interesting. It taught me it made me feel validated that maybe I should just keep doing whatever feels right instead of
Yeah.
like being so hard on myself and being like, oh, like I don't have what it takes. Like I'm not uh I'm not a professional because I can't use Photoshop.
Mhm.
You know what I
But
mean?
it's so cool because with so many different art forms now, like the barrier to entry is getting so much lower because like we all have like decent cameras in our pockets all the time
Yeah.
anyway. We can all download Visco and like I still use that for pretty much every picture that's on my Instagram.
Right.
Like if I'm doing something for like a project, I'll use Photoshop, but like it's so much easier, quicker, delivers pretty much the same thing if you're just posting it on Instagram. Um, and like with music, like you don't have to make as many big investments to like do that.
Totally.
So
I
yeah,
feel like
it's really
that's a
cool. I think
win.
that's one of the coolest. That's one of the coolest things happening in all forms of art and media in this century.
Yeah, right. I think so too. And I mean, in a sense, it does make it the playing field is leveled in certain ways, and then in other ways, it's not. It's really confusing. I think it's going to take until you can look at it retrospectively to
Yeah,
fully understand what's going on. But I do think that it is good that we all can now publish our art and create and
yeah.
really
I
just
think
like do it all on our own.
yeah, and it puts the focus more on the creativity behind what you're making rather than the equipment that you made it on. Like
Yeah.
you can really focus on like what was this person thinking, saying, making instead of like, oh, was that like a Canon like whatever? I can't think of a model right now, but
Yeah, right. I don't know what you mean now.
yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting that I feel like that when we were growing up, like I think that was kind of why indie music was beginning to exist. Like I remember
Mhm.
the albums growing up listening like the Shins or whatever it was that was popular,
Yeah.
like Bell and Sebastian, all these like indie bands who were like making like I remember lo-fi. I listened to a lot of bands like, oh, it's lo-fi, like oh, it's just recorded on like one microphone. And it's like even then people were kind of like, we would prefer to make art over like going to a studio. Like we can't afford to make the kind
Yeah.
of art that's like on pop radio, but we're just gonna make our own thing. And that had created such a swelling subculture that it was becoming almost pop culture. And now
Yeah.
it's the same way, but now we can just pretty much make the pop music. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like indie anymore. It doesn't have to.
Mm,
It's just like, oh, this is like I can't tell if this is Billie Eilish or if this is like, you know, my friend in a bedroom.
yeah.
It's just anyone. And that's the thing. And that's what I was referencing earlier. Like Billie Eilish won a bunch of Grammys and made
Hmm.
all that music in a bedroom. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's very encouraging. And also I continue to learn a lot from our friends in Future Crib and like other friends who just like Kelsey and Bryce who are just like working on
Yeah.
Kelsey, you know, we were just talking on here a few days ago about how we'd
Is there gonna
both
be a
like,
Kelsey episode?
yeah, I talked to Kelsey a couple days ago.
Yay!
Kelsey's working on some cool stuff, as you probably know, apparently
Oh,
with
it's
like
awesome.
Bryce and Johnny. Like,
Yes. It's
um,
so good. Can confirm. So good.
oh, you've heard it?
Yes.
I'm jealous.
It's really good. I was just like, even just like being in the room while they're making it and like not knowing entirely what's going on, but kind of like keeping up for the most part. Just be like the creativity in the room is crazy. Um,
Oh yeah,
and like Evan too. It's awesome. So cool.
Evan. Oh, Evan Ward.
Yes, Evan's recording stuff too.
Oh, oh no
Yes,
way. I've
and
never
it's
heard
also
Evan.
good.
I've never heard or met Evan. I don't think it's a real person.
He's real. I can, yeah, can
Mm,
confirm Evan is a real
well, I
person.
don't know. Tell Evan I have my suspicions. I actually really want to
Okay,
meet Evan so bad.
he's super cool, sweet man.
Yeah, he's sweet. Yeah, everyone says he's the best, so hopefully I get to meet him
Yeah.
one day. So I'm curious. I guess with like Quarantimes, in terms of like future ideas or projects, do you have any outside of like quarantine or whatever? Like, are you finding ways to like? Are you interested in continuing to make like zines or any type of like creative ideas like that, or is it really just for you, just like whatever kind of fits the present moment? Because it sounds like that idea just kind of hit you while you're driving. So and with your interest in like photography, it seems like inspiration to you might just always come in different forms, you
Yeah,
know?
I've also like I would love to make a zine again if like the right idea comes along. But I'm just like waiting for that moment. I would love to like start a podcast if the right idea comes along. Like
Yo,
I've been looking into that a little bit more. I would love to start a blog if I can find, because I already have my website up and running, so I can just add another.
what?
Like I can do it so easily.
What's your website?
KatieNipper.com.
Okay, are there no other Katie Nippers? Why do you
there
have the
there
email
are
and the
none.
website on
There are
lock?
none. Not not
What's
Nipper
up
with a
with
K.
that?
No
Why?
Nippers with a
Why
K.
is Nipper with a K a pretty rare name?
The story that my dad told me, which we don't know how accurate it is, but like this is just the story I grew up with. So my dad's side of the family is like mostly German, and so they were
Cool.
saying how like the Nippers, just that big extended name, would like go through Ellis Island or wherever and just like say the name out loud, and like whoever was writing it down would just spell it phonetically, just Nipper. And apparently, I guess my family got the one person who was like, and how do you spell that? They were like, actually, there's a silent K at the beginning.
No way.
So that's a story I've always been told. Don't know how much truth is behind that. I actually don't know how German I am. I feel like I'm mostly Italian, and we'll see.
Whoa, that's crazy. I mean, that makes sense. It sounds like a logical
Yeah,
explanation.
it always like I was always like, yeah, that checks out. Okay.
I definitely don't think I know anyone else with the K
Yeah.
personally. I'm on. Maybe I should check my Instagram. I'm on your website right now. Yeah, no, none with a K. what else going on here? So are these articles you've written?
Yeah, it's just like a big portfolio website where everything I have made or
Whoa,
been a part of just kind of lands. I try to keep it as updated as I can, but
this is really cool.
thank you. Squarespace.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Squarespace makes it so easy.
I think that's what I used to. Yes,
Mhm.
Squarespace. It is just like, honestly, anything beyond that is like so overwhelming. I don't understand
Yeah.
anything about coding
Mhm.
or so it is really nice. This is cool.
Yeah.
Wow. You've got a
And
ton of stuff on here.
yeah, I've written a lot of things in the last 3 years. So it's all of my writing. It's all of the photos that I've taken, at least the good ones. It's all of the videos that I have either filmed or been a part of. And I think Quarantimes has its own tab on there. So
Wow. Dude, this just
if you want to
keeps
get to it, you
going.
can go there.
On your website on katienipper.com. Yeah, here it is,
Knipper.com.
Quarantimes.
Yes.
And you can click on this picture of Kelsey Abbott.
I actually haven't tested it on mobile, which I should probably do. Um, but you can. There should be a part where it says click here, and then you can click there, and then it'll take you
Cool.
to like the blurb website, which is who I like published, I guess, it with.
Yeah.
They do like the actual printing of it, but they also have the full preview of it online on their website. So that's how you get to that.
That is so cool. And like I said, I'll include that underneath if anybody wants to, as they should, check it out. I appreciate you taking time to come talk to me a little bit about it. It's like I said, I just think it's a really cool idea. And also I'm inspired by just you going out and making this zine. It's like something that really, I don't know, like kind of like what we were talking about. Like it's like it's a cool, like tangible piece of art. And
Yeah.
it's something that I've always thought about doing, like making zines and stuff, but I never have done. Maybe I think I'm like intimidated by learning how to format or learning how to create it. And it's really
Yeah.
cool to see you like turn around what you've learned through like journalism, and on top of that, and just creating like little things like you said that you've just been like whether it's a recipe or a design or whatever, just like including that in it.
Thanks.
Um,
Yeah, even like I was getting pretty into painting at the
no
time that I was
way.
doing that. So there's like some of my like painting in there. I made like a collage for the centerfold. So it was literally just a place to put all of the stuff that I was doing and all of the stuff that everyone else was doing.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's really cool. I'm excited to get my physical copy, and I can't wait to check out the visual copy as well. Thank you for coming and talking to me.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else you think I should talk to?
Um,
Anyone else you think should come on the Fun Zone?
I think you should get in contact with Evan to prove he's a real person.
Evan Ward.
Evan Ward, yes. That'd be
Okay,
a good one.
I'll shoot him a message. I'll shoot him a message right now.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone else you've been around or been inspired by lately?
I think Hannah Hall just always, every time I see any photo that she's taken, I just get so excited. And she's also just the sweetest
Oh,
human being to talk to.
yeah. How do you
That
know?
was
How do you know Hannah?
um I think just
Through the
from
scene.
going to shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just like met her and she's the coolest. That was honestly the coolest part of working on the zine was just like talking in depth to these people who like I was friends with and like knew decently well, but then just have like get on a phone call and just be like, oh, I'm going to interview them. And then it'll be like a 2-hour conversation about just like, what are you up to? Like, how have you been? What's life like for you right now? And just, it was cool to get to know people like on that level that I kind of knew already, but just not that deep. So
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. I mean, I feel the way about this show too. It's just a good way to like get to talk to someone like you that I just think are people that I think are really cool, and I've always wanted to talk to you a little bit more and learn a little bit more about what
I'm cool.
Oh yeah, you're cool.
Oh my god.
Everybody knows that it's cool to be Katie Knipper. We tried to make that like a viral idea.
Yeah. I almost forgot about that.
What, I am Katie Knipper?
Yeah.
I don't even remember why, but you just kept commenting that like a giant thread of people were just commenting that.
It was
I don't remember why.
because at the end of our interview, when I was trying to film my little adios, I would just have to say, for VNN, I'm Katie Knipper. And every time they said, let's do it, the whole chorus of Space Prom joined in and said, I'm Katie Knipper.
That was when I thought we had gone
That was
too
hilarious.
far. I remember the person on the camera was like visibly like starting to fume a little bit. I was like, oh.
We don't talk about him. He's
That's funny.
No, it was fun. It was really fun. I've talked to like Abigail, who was also on that shoot, and she was like, that was the most fun that I've had like on a shoot. So
y'all must have been like, where are we? Like you thought you were gonna go to the east side, but you're like in the heart of Brentwood.
Yeah, we're just
the hills.
None of us had any cell service. We're like, are we gonna die here?
I thought the same thing when I first showed up the first time. I was like, what on earth? Where is it? And you go up this like you turn and you just go up this massive hill.
Trying to back down the hill, I kind of did almost die. I was just like so stressed trying to get out of that driveway. But I made it. We're here.
I'm glad you made it. I'm glad we got to meet that day.
Yeah.
It was a magical day for meeting Bryce and also meeting me, I gotta say. I'm super glad that we've met and got to be around each other a little bit more and really become friends since then. So I think that's awesome. Thanks again for talking with me for a little bit. Everybody, purchase a copy of Quarantimes, follow Katie on Instagram, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, I'll see you around. Thanks for letting me on. This is fun.
Cool. It's been super fun for me too. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.